So who is the first African-American major leaguer? You probably guessed Jackie Robinson.
Apparently there's more to the story. Larry is here to explain. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a story that takes us back before Robinson and even before the Negro Leagues to find who many call the first black major leaguer. And his story is about more than just baseball.
Robinson dashes to the plate.
As great as Jackie Robinson? No. But Moses Fleetwood Walker had fast legs, a strong arm, and a batting average 23 points higher than the league average in 1884. He was a catcher for the Toledo Blue Stockings of the American Association, a precursor of the American League, making him the first African-American major leaguer.
He was certainly lionized as a great baseball player, and he goes down in history as really a true early pioneer.
In the 1880s, there was an unwritten agreement to ban blacks in the National League.
They refused to accept that blacks could play baseball. You know, how in the world could blacks play America's so-called national pastime, because they weren't American. You know, they weren't viewed as American.
Cap Anson of the Chicago White Stockings was baseball's biggest star, and people followed his lead in refusing to play if Walker was on the field.
Back then, Anson was the home run king, the hits leader, the RBI guy. He was baseball's really first star. He's, really the first one to, say, hey, if there's a black player on the field, I'm not going to play.
Most of Walker's teammates supported him, but not star pitcher Tony Mullane. When Walker signaled for a curveball, Mullane would ignore the signal and throw a fastball. And in 1884, that was a bit dangerous.
There was no chest protectors, there were no gloves. He was essentially a barehanded catcher. And so you can imagine the punishment.
The injuries hampered his performance, but perhaps racism was the biggest factor in cutting his big league career short. After he left, the American Association joined the National League in banning blacks. After a few years in the minors, Walker was done with baseball. For many ball players, that would have been the end. But for Moses Fleetwood Walker, it was the beginning of something new. Walker was born in 1857 in Mount Pleasant, Ohio, a Quaker town that was a stop on the Underground Railroad. His father was a doctor. Walker played ball at Oberlin College and the University of Michigan, where he studied law. Perhaps Walker's intellect was lost on people like Cap Anson and Tony Mullane, who viewed blacks as inferior.
The belief that these guys were illiterate, that they were vagabonds, they were tramps, they were hobos, and here's a guy who was very astute, likely brighter than most of the people that he was playing with.
After baseball, Walker developed many talents. He owned a theater and even had a patent for an artillery shell. In 1908, he published a book entitled Our Home Colony, which called for black immigration back to Africa as the only way to avoid the oppression of racism. And his troubles with race continued. When a white man attacked him, Walker stabbed him to death. He was acquitted on murder charges, though, by an all-white jury that said it was self-defense.
We often use Jackie Robinson to, for lack of a better word, teach our history a little backwards. We can go from Jackie Robinson and teach about the Negro Leagues, but then we end up getting to Walker and understanding that there were people who helped pave the way for Jackie Robinson.
Umpire Summers calls him safe on the daring maneuver.
Jackie Robinson's achievements are legendary, but Moses Fleetwood Walker endured hardships even more severe and succeeded on the field and off at a time when so many were rooting against him. And thanks to the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City for helping us out. There's an exhibit at Cooperstown that's been there for years that features Walker. And did you know, guys, that the second African-American to play Major League Baseball was Fleetwood Walker's little brother, Weldy?